Exodus 19, I believe 5. See if we can get that now. See, that scripture, Jehovah's Witness tried to tell me that scripture applied to everybody. That dude's out of his fucking mind. We are a chosen generation. Trying to say the whole word chosen generation. Well, you probably talking about the witnesses and shit. You know, a chosen generation, royal priesthood. The only, like I said earlier, we're the only nation on this earth that are a nation of kings and priests. And no other nation on this earth can say that. Okay, and we have that our power is going to make us all rich. Okay, in the word, in the body, and in the actual substance. No other nation on the earth is going to have that totalitarian over their existence.
The spin side of that, brother, too, and the blessing, even though Esau got the fatness in this time, Jacob get the corn and the wine and the fatness in the kingdom. So
the scripture actually say that too. In the same in the blessings.
Yeah, in the blessings, he's corn and wine, and he getting the fatness too.
Kind of just different time periods.
Yeah, different time.
It's Exodus 19 and 5.
Yep.
Now therefore, if ye will obey my voice indeed and keep my covenant.
And that's going to happen. Jeremiah 31:31, right? Go ahead.
It says, and keep my covenant, then he shall be a peculiar treasure unto me above all people. For all the earth is mine.
Go ahead.
And he shall be unto me a kingdom of priests and a holy nation. These are the words which thou shalt speak unto the children of Israel.
That's where Peter got that from. Peter didn't make it up. All right? He got it from the law. He got it from what Moses said. All right? And Moses was speaking about what? The kingdom. All right? And that's what Peter was speaking about, the kingdom.
Yeah, and if you even wanted to say that everybody was chosen, in a way that's true, but each person was chosen for a different purpose. So Esau was chosen to be the so-called, Esau is a so-called white man today. He was chosen to be the devil. And the children of Israel, so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, they were chosen to be the Lord's peculiar treasure, his holy people.
Yeah, and also too, when you read in Revelation 21, he even names the 12 tribes of Israel, 12 disciples or the apostles, and then it even names that we compare it to like different stones, and onyx stones, and precious stones, and jaspers, and he called it right here in the scriptures, Exodus 19 and 5, where peculiar treasure. What do you put in the treasure box? Those jewels.
Yeah, well, it's precious. We were the building. Yeah, we were the building in the Most High. Precious stones.
They said that city was see-through glass. That's all metaphoric, man. That's us. We're gonna be like a glass city, a rainbow over our head, everything. That's all spiritual, man. That's symbolic. Because we're the city, this holy city coming down New Jerusalem from the chariots. We're gonna be at that. And the brother brought out earlier Paul said that we're gonna be changed in the twinkling of an eye. So we're gonna get some new spiritual bodies. Celestial, terrestrial bodies, okay, or extraterrestrial, so you can understand.
And other nations not going to receive that blessing, all right? That's a blessing designated for the Israelites, all right?
Basically, we're going to be operating on a high frequency. We're going to be operating like beyond our belief. Paul said, no man, no eye have seen, no ear have heard, but the Lord has prepared for us. So we can't even describe it with the words we read it to you, we're just telling you. We can't even really fathom it like that.
We got small glimpses.
Yeah, good.
Just small little glimpses.
Yeah, like when Ezekiel saw the throne of the Lord. Yeah. Give me Ezekiel, I think the 2nd chapter. He said he started describing the different things, and he said he looked up and then he seen that was the Lord. Yep. I think he seen rainbows and different colors.
Yeah, that's like a high type, dimension type.
Ezekiel the 2nd chapter.
Basically, the Lord, Yahweh Shai came from eternity to this time.
Now behold the living creature. 15.
This is Ezekiel 1 and 15. Now as I beheld the living creatures, behold, one wheel upon the earth by the living creatures with his 4 faces.
These are referring to the chariots of Israel, okay? This is how Ezekiel described it. What?
The appearance of the wheels and their work was like unto the color of a beryl.
The color of the beryl. Anybody know what color the beryl is?
Green, I believe it's green, yeah. It says, and they 4 had one likeness, and their appearance and their work was as it were a wheel in the middle of a wheel.
That's referring to the chariots of Israel, okay? So-called UFOs, all right?
It says, when they went upon their 4 sides, and they turned when they went. And they turned not when they went. As for their rings, they were so high.
They were circled, okay?
As for their rings, they were so high that they were dreadful. And their rings were full of eyes, round about them four.
Maybe they can see everywhere. Go ahead.
And when the living creatures went, the wheels went by them.
So it was a spirit inside the ship. Go ahead.
And when the living creatures were lifted up from the earth, the wheels were lifted up.
Go ahead.
Whithersoever the spirit was to go, they went. Thither was the spirit to go, and the wheels were lifted up over against them. For the spirit of the living creature was in the wheels.
The spirit of the living creature was in the wheels. Alright? The angels were in the chariots of Israel. Ships.
When those went, these went. And when those stood, these stood. And when those were lifted up from the earth, the wheels were lifted up over against them. For the spirit of the living creature was in the wheels.
So reiterate and tell you again, right, so you can understand. Go ahead.
And the likeness of the firmament upon the heads of the living creature.
The likeness of the firmament upon the heads of the living creature. What?
Was as the color of the terrible crystal.
Terrible crystal. So I mean, we can imagine what that's like the brother was saying, but we can't really imagine what Ezekiel saw. You know? His mind wasn't even there to taking the whole majesty of that. And that was like the turn, like the brother said, the turning was coming into our reality. What?
I'm going to read it again. And the likeness of the firmament upon the heads of the living creature was as the color of the terrible crystal.
Was that the color of the terrible crystal? Alright? Go ahead.
Stretched forth over their heads above.
Stretched forth over their heads. Okay, so that was Ezekiel probably seen one end of the sky covered to the other end of the sky covered. Okay, in an image that we can't even describe. Alright? But Ezekiel described it as a terrible crystal. Go ahead.
And under the firmament were their wings straight, the one toward the other. Everyone had two, which covered on this side, and everyone had two, which covered on that side, their bodies. And when they went, I heard the noise of their wings, like the noise of great waters, as the voice of the Almighty.
Yeah, so when the ships moved, when the angels moved, it sounded like thunder.
Yeah,
okay, and waves crashing against rocks. That's how the prophets. That's how the prophets explain it. That's how he's perceiving it. It sounded like thunder and water crashing against rocks when the chariots moved. Right?
It says which covered on this side and and when they went, I heard the noise of their wings like the noise of great waters, as the voice of the Almighty, the voice of speech, as the noise of an host. When the
noise of an host, a tumult. Okay, good.
And it's like when they stood, they let down their wings, and there was a voice from the firmament that was over their heads. When they stood and had let down their wings, and above the firmament that was over their heads was the likeness of a throne, as the appearance of a sapphire stone.
Yeah, the appearance of a sapphire stone. Okay, that's another image that we can put a carnal representation on it, but when we actually see it, it's going to be more magnificent. It's going to be more majestic.